Are you ready?
Oh, yeah!
From parts unknown and into your home, this is the Groovy G Championship Belt Podcast. Now, here's your host, Groovy G.
Hello there, folks, and welcome to the Groovy G Championship Belt Podcast. On this episode, we take a close-up look at a Reggie Parks made 10 pounds of silver NWA United States Championship. That's coming your way right now.
You're watching the Groovy G Championship Belt Podcast. For your official Groovy G Belt Podcast merchandise, check out www.groovyGshop.com.
Making its television debut on March 12, 1983, this was the fourth version of Jim Crockett Promotions' United States Championship. Making its debut with Greg the Hammer Valentine, the original belt was made by the King of Belts, Reggie Parks, just like this belt that you see in front of you right now. However, there were a couple of differences between this belt and the ring-used belt. Firstly, the ring-used belt was originally painted with red, white and blue paint. That paint quickly faded, and by early 1985, the remaining paint was intentionally removed. The second main difference is the ring-used belt was acid etched onto 2mm zinc plates, and then those plates were placed onto thicker backing plates before being attached to the leather. Despite being nickel-plated, it was then NWA World's Champion Ric Flair who held the 10 pounds of gold dome globe, who would allude to this belt being made of silver, or second place, hence the nickname, the 10 pounds of silver. Let's take a closer look at this particular belt, starting on the left-hand side, and we can see the female snap boxes and the lace leather. Moving across, we can see the grommets, the United States emblem, and the wrestlers inside the ring. Moving on to the main plate, we can see the NWA logo in between the words United States, with the flag in the middle surrounded by the words National Wrestling Alliance. Heavyweight Wrestling Champion, and the initials RP for Reggie Parks etched into the metal. Moving across to the right-hand side, we can see the same grommets and side plates. The male snap boxes with a very light Reggie Parks signature stamp. And if I flip the belt over, we can see just one solid piece of backing leather covering up all of the screws.
You're watching the Groovy G Championship Belt Podcast. For your official Groovy G Belt Podcast merchandise, check out www.groovyGshop.com.
So there we have it. That's a Reggie Parks made 10 pounds of silver NWA United States Championship. Now let's take a sneak peek of what's coming your way on the next Groovy G Championship Belt Podcast.
On the next episode of the Groovy G Championship Belt Podcast.
This is Pondwater Dave, also known as Super Dave, and I'm up next on the Groovy G Championship Belt Podcast.
That's right, folks. On the next episode of the Groovy G Championship Belt Podcast, we sit down with the Belt Pope, Super Dave Miller. In the meantime, make sure you don't miss a thing by subscribing to this YouTube channel, and you can join in the conversation on Twitter at Groovy G Belt Show or on Facebook. Until then, take care. It's bye for now.